Thank you for joining me for Yin Yoga, a practice of stillness. In any of these poses, if at any point it becomes too long and too intense or painful for your body, please back out of the pose sooner than I cue. We will be in each posture for several minutes with breath, so please be gentle if you feel like you need to relieve the pose and stretch or wiggle the body out. So we'll begin nice and cozy up against a wall. You can just sit beside the wall as close as you can, and then shift your top body down to the earth, allowing your legs to go up against the wall, toes towards the sky. And if your hamstrings or the back of your legs feel tight and you can't straighten your legs, you can shift your hips further away from the wall just a little bit, kind of scoot yourself back, and allow your legs to be really soft. Allow the knees to be soft and a little bent. Open your arms up to create a T-shape, palms open to the sky. Tuck the shoulder blades under slightly, and just begin to settle into comfort. Maybe picking up the head, tucking the chin under slightly so that the back of the neck becomes really long. And just allow the toes to soften. Allow the fingers to soften and gently curl in. Taking a deep breath to fill up through the lungs, the chest rises, expanding through the belly. And then exhale out nice and slowly. And just allow the eyes to close and the face to soften as you take another deep inhale, filling yourself up completely. And a complete exhale. Just feeling that connection that your back body has with the earth beneath you. Maybe feeling the coolness or the warmth of the wood or floor beneath you. The back of the hands, the arms, the back of the skull. And just allow your whole body to relax deeper. Allowing the brow line to soften, the jaw to release. And the shoulders fall heavy, allowing the collarbone to be broad, exposing the front of the heart space towards the sky. And just allow yourself to focus on the natural rhythm of your breath, following as it moves within the nose, filling up the body, expansive and free. And following it back out of the body as it releases the navel, drawn up into the spine to completely empty yourself out, detoxifying, letting anything sticky within the body go with ease. And just allow that natural rhythm of your breath to be the anchor of your mind in this practice. We'll be spending a lot of time in stillness. And it's in this practice that we still have quite a big challenge. Less so in the body, more so within the mind, a challenge of being completely still and just sitting with any sensations that appear within the body. Whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental, you'll feel all sorts of sensations come in and go out. So just allow your breath to be the anchor of your mind and just become the witness of your sensation, just watching with a curious eye how things feel, where the sensation is feeling within the body, and just let this be the practice for today. Watching the body, creating space for yourself to heal and let go with the breath. We'll slowly move into our next posture by walking our feet down the wall, bending the knees towards the chest. Once your feet are as far down as you can get them, your whole foot is flat on the wall, take one step out wide on either foot. So step the right foot out to the right, the left foot out to the left, and allow the knees to stay in alignment with your ankles. So energetically allow your knees to fall out as your feet are out wider than the body. And maybe you want to walk your heels down a little bit. Maybe it's a little too intense within the hips and you want to walk your feet back up. If it feels really tight and sticky, you can have a little bit of movement within the knees side to side. Just very subtle wiggling, mindfully exploring the body and noticing how that movement changes the elements of the posture within your body. And as you take a deep inhale, just imagine it coming into the body, filling up the entire back body that's pressing against the mat, traveling down into the pelvis and out through the hip joints, spiraling around, just exploring all the different layers of tissue, nook and crannies within the body, noticing what's there, what type of energy is being held. Is it feels sticky or dense? Maybe it feels like a burning sensation or some warmth or spaciousness. Just being curious as you explore with deep, deep belly breaths how the body feels at the top of the inhale when you're completely full, completely stretched out, and where the sensations live when you exhale, noticing the difference in feeling within the body when you're completely empty. And each inhale is another question as to what sensations are there, how is my body feeling, and where am I feeling something? With no need to change, no need to run away or numb out or fix it or improve the way we're feeling, but just to be objective and to look at it, to notice without feeling attached or judgmental, just notice. Curious about the self, curious about what the body is holding on an energetic level within the muscles, within the joints, and sending the breath there to encourage its grip or its tight energy to loosen up and to flow, to be released, to create more space where there once was density and stickiness. And take another deep inhale here. Complete exhale. Moving into happy baby, pick up your arms and bring your elbows on the insides of your knees and reach for your ankles first. Anywhere on your ankles or your shins that you can grab. And if you have more space, you can reach your fingers for your big toe and pull your big toe down, allowing your shoulders to be really heavy. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can reach your fingers on the outer edges of your feet, wiggling your fingers to the top edges or to the bottoms of your feet. And then pull your knees down towards your armpits. Allow your shoulders to be heavy, soft, and relaxed towards the ground. And just notice your spine. Allow it to be nice and flat, all the way from the tailbone through the back of the neck. And just breathe deeply here. Feeling free to gently rock side to side, nice and slow. It's like a sweet little back massage on either side body where the kidneys are, pressing through and moving through all those layers of tissue within the kidneys. Maybe allowing the skull to gently rock side to side. I'm just moving super slow with slow, deep belly breaths. And release your grip on your feet. Allow your legs to go back up against the wall the way we began. Nice and long up against the wall. And then allow your legs to sweep out wide so your pinky toes lead each leg towards the floor into a big straddle shape with the legs. And just allow the feet to work with gravity here, to feel that natural pull, that weight towards the earth, allowing the hips to open. If it feels too intense to just let your legs dangle here in the weight, you can support the outer edges of your thighs or your calves with a couple blocks or some sort of prop to keep you lifted on either side. Otherwise, just allow your toes to hang heavy, loosen through the kneecaps, through the heels. And just notice if you're holding on in any other area in your chest or your shoulders, and let them be heavy towards the earth. If the jaws clench, let it become soft with the tongue. Letting go of any held muscular effort within the abs and within the hips. And again, if it feels good, you can gently rock your head side to side, really slowly, just finding beautiful length on one side of the neck and then the other. Massaging all those little muscles on the back of the head, letting our mind really settle down. Moving very slowly with deep belly breaths allows us to literally shift our state of being, allowing our minds to settle down into this quiet area beneath that constant thinking, that constant perspective of looking out for resources and solutions and ideas, constantly being drawn out to tools and doing so much throughout the day. When we slow down and notice our breath, and notice that feeling within our body, we literally can shift ourselves into this more calming, peaceful state, out of the thinking, out of the doing, and into the space of just being here, feeling within the home of your body in a very loving and nourishing way. No judgment, just giving yourself a space to sit with whatever you're feeling, whether it's a physical sensation, whether it's an emotion that you're holding within your heart space, or a mindset that's been stuck in your head and you're ready to shake it off. This is a place to be within stillness, within the flow of your breath. And go ahead and bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, and just allow yourself to feel into that rhythm of your being. Just letting time, gravity, and the pose to just do the work for you with the breath, trusting the process, and just giving yourself permission to be completely still. No need to go do anything or fidget. Just to breathe and feeling the shoulder blades pressing into the earth, feeling the heaviness of the back of the skull, and also feeling any intensity that's growing within the hips, and just sending the breath there. Strengthen your inhale stronger to match the intensity that you're feeling within the hip joint. Exhale out louder, longer, to let any of that tightness release out of the hips. And taking another deep inhale. Complete exhale. Bring your hands to the outer edges of the thighs and very slowly work your legs back together up against the wall. Go ahead and just sway your toes side to side, rotating your hip bone within your hip joint, releasing any stiffness, freeing up that tight energy. And moving to our next posture, we're going to walk our feet back down the wall. Allow your feet to be hip-width distance apart. And you may need to keep your feet a little bit higher in order to lift your hips. So go ahead and lift your hips up, pressing into the wall gently. Don't press so hard that you're going to poke a hole. Just lift your hips up gently. Pick up your right ankle and cross it over the left knee, creating a figure 4 shape. Now, once you have that bind, notice how your hip feels. If you cannot lower your hips here, if it's too tight or too intense, then walk your left foot up the wall a little bit, or shimmy your hips away from the wall a little bit further, and find that spot where you can lower your hips, keeping your right ankle against the left knee, and allow that right knee that's in that figure 4 shape really be pressed out energetically away from the body, allowing your left foot to stay on the wall, pressing that knee so you get a bit of a active stretch here. If you want to pick up your right hand and place it on your right knee, letting your elbow press into the floor as like a little kickstand to keep that knee pressing up and away, you can assist yourself. Otherwise, you can just let your arms go nice and long wherever feels good, alongside the body or out into a T shape. And just breathing deeply in through the outer edge of the right thigh. Noticing if that right ankle feels tweaky at all, if it's collapsing and feels like it's a bit vulnerable, maybe be a little more active or come onto the edge of the foot a little bit more. When we spend this longer time within each pose, we really get deep within the layers of the body. And when we breathe deeply with our mindset really focused with this flow of breath, we're shifting our nervous system out of this stress-related fight or flight space where we so often live and exist in, and we shift it into this beautiful relaxation space. A place where it can truly lie down any exhaustion, any anxiety, any adrenaline or other stress hormones within the body. Really settle all those levels down and create this space for healing. Create this space where we can truly unravel and peel back layers of ourself, getting back into our core, back into our centermost being, our heart space. And just connecting back to who we truly are and what our true intentions are within this lifetime. A beautiful space of questioning and being explorative within the realm of ourselves. And if the mind begins to wander into thought, if you catch yourself drifting off into the automatic thinking, just let that be there. It's okay. It's part of the practice. The mind does what the mind does, and that is to think. But be aware of it and catch yourself as often as you can and just come back to the focus of your breath. Come back to your intention. Practicing genuine presence on the mat, of noticing the sensations within the body and watching them as they dance around, coming in and then leaving. And it's just this interplay within the self of watching the sensation, filling ourselves up with breath, and creating space within our body. Letting tension become softer and more spacious. They always say the moment we want to flee the pose is when the pose actually begins. So catch yourself. It can feel intense and uncomfortable, but that's somewhat what we're looking for. If it becomes so intense that it's hurting you or really becomes painful, then please honor your body. But if it's just uncomfortable and you're feeling like you want to move or you're feeling antsy, just noticing that that's your reaction and breathing into it, letting yourself feel that way without having to get out of the pose, is where the magic really is within the practice. So focus back onto the breath. Let the breath carry you through, as the sensations are only temporary. Let the breath carry you forward. And slowly we'll begin to move into a spinal twist. So your left foot that's against the wall, go ahead and untuck that foot, letting the top of the foot come against the wall and letting the foot come towards the floor. So your whole shin and top of the foot are against the wall, and your knee falls all the way over to the left side, which pulls your right ankle over with it and allowing your right knee to fall over to the left. If this feels uncomfortable at all, you can just press away from the wall entirely and just let both knees fall over to the left. Seeing if you can allow both shoulder blades to stay planted to the earth. And maybe your head rolls open towards your right palm. And just allowing the spine to relax, decompress as you breathe deeply, sending the breath all the way down the central channel of the body, all the way down from the head through the spine to the tailbone, and letting it just sweep out, taking anything with it that's no longer serving you. And if it feels good, you can straighten that top leg, that right foot, big toe comes towards the earth. You can bring your left hand on the outer edge of your right thigh and just press and massage around, poking into the muscle. And again, just being curious, explorative. How does the body feel? What sensation is there? Just gaining greater body awareness. Tuning into the subtle cues that our body is always communicating to us and really quieting the mind down, quiet enough, silent enough for us to really hear, to really discover all the little pieces within. And just softening through the shoulders, softening through the face, the ears, the skull relaxes. Taking another deep, deep inhale. And gradually exhale it out. Slowly unwind by picking up your right arm and bringing your hand over to that right knee, just kind of turning all the way to the right side or to the left side. And then unwinding by bringing your legs up against the wall and coming back onto your back. Nice and slow. bringing your arms alongside the body and just taking a moment back into the center here for a moment, feeling the spine alongside the floor. So we'll come to the other side of our reclined pigeon. So begin by pressing into the wall to lift your hips up off of the floor. Pick up the left foot and cross the ankle over the right knee, slowly settling the hips back towards the earth. And again, feeling free here to move and make adjustments, whether you're walking that right foot up the wall a little bit, down the wall a little bit. And if you can't figure that out into a good spot, maybe you just press your hips a little further away from the wall or shimmy back closer and allow this left knee to go wide out to the side, creating a figure 4 shape. Being aware and conscious of your left ankle, don't let it collapse in where it can be compromised. Keep it a bit active. And just tucking the shoulder blades under slightly, letting the back of the head be really heavy. Just feeling this beautiful relaxation as you are fallen and supported into the floor. And just letting all of your awareness live within this left hip, within the left thigh. Imagining the breath flowing just like a river through the muscle tissue of your left thigh, in through the hips, swirling around through all the crevices, and exhaling, it swooshes out through the thigh. Exhaling out through the kneecap, just letting anything go. So the fascia of the body is this thin layer like saran wrap that I spoke about before. And this is the tissue that we're really isolating when we hang out in a pose for this amount of time. The fascia takes a long time to release, to stretch out its fibers. It's so tightly wound, and if we don't give it the time and the space to really be encouraged to let loose, it stays pretty wound up and it catches and absorbs any sensation within the body, whether it's an emotion or whether we go through a traumatic or tragic event or hardship where we've used our flight or flight response, we've had high stress or high anxiety. When we feel that way, we have a literal physiological response within the body. And our fascia, and those little fibers within our bodies, within that soft tissue, it gets bottled up and it stays concentrated within that area. And our body just becomes tenser, more clenched, smaller, tighter within as we hold on in those hard waves of life. And unless we really take the time to be mindful of how we're feeling, to focus on the breath and process and sift through all of those emotions and all the sensations that come through any traumatic event within our life, which most often we don't do. Most often we just push it down, we put on a brave face, and we continue to move forward. And unfortunately, we don't leave space and time for healing. And so giving ourselves this time within these poses gives us that space, and any deeply held sensation or emotion or pain within our subtle energetic body to come to the surface, to bubble up. And so we will feel it. We'll feel that sensation, whether it's within the muscle, whether it's in the heart, whether it's in the mind, where it's going to come up and it's going to let itself known. And even if it's uncomfortable, if we can just sit with it in a loving and patient way, and give it the space to breathe, we can actually let it go and find more spaciousness, more relaxation, more peace and healing within our body. And so that is the magical practice of a Yin Yoga. And so let's move into our spinal twist. Go ahead and bring that right foot, untuck it so that the shin and the top of the foot are against the wall, and slide the leg all the way down so it's on the floor, allowing both knees to fall over to the right. Opening up that left arm out to the side with the palm open, allow that left shoulder blade to be drawn into the earth, opening and twisting through the heart. If it feels too much for the neck and the head to move towards the left, you can just keep your head neutral. And again, be expansive within the breath and send it all the way down the spine, allowing your entire core, your chest, your back, your belly to all expand as you fill up with breath. And completely wind and squeeze yourself out, squeezing out the breath, finding more depth within your twist as you exhale. And so you can imagine the body just like a sponge here. As you fill up with water, you're absorbing all of this breath, all this beautiful, fresh energy from the environment around you, bringing it into your vessel. And then letting it being twisted out of you, detoxifying and very cleansing through the body. And just allowing yourself to be here, finding that level of acceptance that this is exactly where you are. And in order to really accept and surrender into what is in this very moment, exactly where you are in your life, we must have a level of trust. In order to let go, in order to accept, in order to surrender, we must trust. Trust that we are exactly where we're supposed to be. Knowing that everything that's been handed to us is meant for us at that very moment. And as long as we can practice this beautiful presence within ourselves, within our breath, in each moment, we know that we are being guided and that we are flowing in rhythm of the universe. And that the very things that we're hoping for will appear right in front of us the very moment we're ready for them, as long as we continue to be open to acceptance, willing to be here now, regardless of how that feels. And just focusing on the breath and letting it carry you through the hard times. And slowly releasing out of the spinal twist, bring your legs back up against the wall, feet flat onto this wall, knees bent. Walk your feet up just a little bit more so that your knees are at about 90 degrees. And allow your arms to come alongside the body with the palms face down. Tuck your shoulder blades under slightly. And pick up the back of your head. Let the back of the neck be long as you slowly and gently press into the wall and lift your hips up for a supported bridge pose or a supported shoulder stand. So you may want to walk your feet up a little bit more to get your hips lifted. And then allow there to be a soft space under the chin. If you'd like, you can pick up your hands, press into the forearms, maybe walk the elbows closer to each other, and allow your hands to support your low back. You don't need to do that. And just breathe deeply, allowing that rhythm of breath to be expansive through the throat and the chest as well as the belly. allowing the shoulders to be soft, allowing the knees to hug in toward the midline of the body. Allow the toes to be soft. Just getting a reverse blood flow here, allowing our hips to be lifted up over our hearts. And draining out through the lymph system. Anytime we get our hips up over our hearts, it just benefits all of the functions within our mind, improving our ability to rest and be at ease when we sleep, improving our focus and concentration, our memory, just our ability to think and see with a beautiful level of clarity. When we breathe deeply, getting upside down a bit, and just clear out the mind, we're able to just watch our thoughts a little bit better, a little bit easier, feeding the ones that are uplifting and spark a certain level of excitement within our soul, within our belly, and being conscious of when the heavier ones come through and letting them go as quick as they do come in. And you can stay here, you can lower your hips if this becomes too much, or if you want to go a bit deeper, you can lift your right leg up off of the wall and allow your toes to fall up and overhead for a supported plow pose. Keep your hips supported by your hands here and just become a little more active through this leg. So straighten out that knee as much as you can, really extend through the heel, peeling the toes back towards the shin, flexing through the foot. And just breathing through the whole back side of the right leg. And just letting it become a little more lively with length. And then gently release it, bring that foot back onto the wall and switch to the opposite side. Picking up the left foot and bringing the toes up towards the sky first, flexing that foot, lengthening through the knee, and then allowing the toes to slowly fall up and overhead towards the floor. How active and strong and long can you allow this leg be? And release. Coming back to the wall. Slowly lower the hips, lowering one vertebrae of the spine down to the floor at a time. Being very slow. We're now going to slowly roll onto our left side and come onto our belly, allowing your legs again to be against the wall. The shins and the tops of the feet come against the wall. As you turn onto the belly, allow the kneecaps to be right in that crease between the floor and the wall. So your knees are bent 90 degrees. Allow your chest and your forehead to come onto the floor. Your hands are flat onto the floor with the arms bent. And just take a moment to breathe all the way through the low back. Being very gentle as you lift the chest up. You may want to allow your arms to be out long, just lifting very subtly, or your knees can come, or your elbows, can come out wide, allowing your forearms to be horizontal. Stack the hands and rest one cheek to the stacked hands. And just feeling the softness of the belly as it presses into the floor, feeling that expansion through the pelvis as it presses into the floor on the inhale. Allowing the low back to completely decompress. And if it feels good to slowly lift the chest up, again, allow your elbows to be out away from the shoulders for a very gentle lift of the chest. This becomes a back bend, so do not scrunch your low back. If you begin to lift the chest with the palms flat on the floor, you can sort of grip the floor with your fingers and energetically pull your chest, your sternum forward, as if your heart is going to move forward through your biceps. Just keeping a length within the upper spine rather than scrunching or putting all of the pressure into the low back. And let your gaze be at the floor. Let the back of the neck be nice and long. Shoulders pulled back. Collarbone is broad. And in these last few moments of breath here, if you feel compelled to go a bit deeper, to walk your hands and elbows in closer to the body, or press into the hands, lifting the elbows, be very slow, be very gentle. And if your back is inviting you to go there, then please feel free to go a bit deeper. If you don't feel the invitation and you've gone to your edge, please do not push it any further. Be very gentle and loving on the spine. Feels good to lift the chin and stretch the front of the throat open. Feel free to go ahead and do that. And very slowly release the chest back to the earth. Stack the hands and bring your opposite cheek to your hands. Taking a few deep restorative breaths. Let the spine reset back into neutral. And as very slowly and mindfully, gently shift onto your back, coming into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Keep the eyes closed if you can as you travel, letting the feet spread out wide as the mat, relaxing the thighs, the kneecaps, the calves. Let the toes fall out naturally. Tucking the shoulder blades under slightly, letting the arms be out away from the body with a space under the armpits. And the palms can be open to the sky or facing the earth, whichever you're drawn to. Taking a few moments here, maybe gently rock the skull side to side to find its final resting place, making any mindful adjustments so that you can fall into complete stillness. Letting the jaw be loose, the tongue soft. Let go of all control over breath and just let it ease through naturally. And just give yourself these few moments to be at complete ease, to let the eyes stay closed as you melt through the back body onto the earth. Giving your body the space and time to soak in all of the beautiful benefits of the practice. Shavasana is a beautiful teacher that we can only do so much. We can only ever put so much effort forth. But in order to truly succeed in anything that we're doing, in order to live in a way that is fulfilling, we must have balance between the effort and ease. There's only so much we can ever do, and then there comes this beautiful time to allow ourselves to completely rest, to be still. Just a beautiful human body, heart beating, lungs breathing. A deep, dwelling container of love, joy, wisdom, and strength. As deep as the ocean, your being is so much more beyond this physical body. Your skin shows only the surface. How special that the breath has the opportunity to journey deep within, peeling back layers and layers, discovering that true spark that ignites your soul, that divine essence and purpose of who you really are, beyond the human body, beyond the thinking mind, beyond the beating heart. Shavasana is an opportunity to dwell within the depths of your own soul. Slowly take a deep inhale, filling up the entire body. Let it go slowly. Keeping the eyes closed, gently begin to roll onto whichever side feels good into your body. Hugging the knees into the chest, coming into the fetal position. And just taking a moment here, curled up into yourself, to reflect on the practice, to hold some gratitude for yourself, for showing up, for being here, for being willing to practice. And being very gentle in the head and neck with the eyes closed, slowly press your way up to a seated cross-legged position. And once you arrive with the legs crossed, bring your hands together to the heart space, pressing thumbs to heart, heart pressing back into the thumbs. And take an inhale to lengthen the spine tall, lifting through the top of the head. And an open mouth exhale. The divine light within me honors and recognizes the divine light within you. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me. Namaste.